Good morning, children. Previous class, just we have discussed what is crystal field theory, how the complex are formed. Okay, based on the concept of crystal field theory, just we have seen how the complex are formed. Okay, what is the bond between the central metal atom and the ligand, how the bond formation is taking place, how the orbitals are splitting into Eg and T2G. All those things we have seen, which has more energy, which has less energy. Okay, so in such a time, okay, two orbitals are in upfield and two are in downfield. Okay, that is each orbitals are having more energy, T2G orbitals are having less energy in octahedral field. Okay, in such a time, when the electrons are entering, how the electrons will enter in the d orbital. Okay, now we are going to see that. Okay, so in crystal field theory also, the distribution of d electron follows the same Ohm's rule only. Okay, we have learned in our 11th standard, no, Hofbauer principle, Pauling exclusion principle and Ohm's rule. Okay, according to that, the electrons first it will make half filled, then the pairing will take place, isn't it? Whatever may be the orbital, s orbital, p orbital, d orbital, f orbital, whatever it may be, based on the energy level from low energy to high energy, the electrons will enter. First the off field will take place, then the pairing will take place, like that we have learned. Okay, low energy 1s, then 2s, 2p, 3s. Okay, so like that we have discussed. Okay, now we are going to use the same only. Here in octahedral field, suppose the central metal atom is having the electronic configuration of d1, d2, means there is no problem, just the electrons will enter, only one electron, two electron, just it will enter in the T2G orbital. D3 also no problem, 3 electrons will enter, they will remain unpaired. But for D4 system and D5 system, that is number of electrons now 4 electrons. Okay, 3d4, 4d4, 5d4. Okay, in such a way. Okay, now 4 electrons are present. Now whether these 4 electrons will enter in this T2G orbital or the higher energy orbital, Eg orbital. Okay, so here 4 electrons, 1, 2, 3. Where the 4th electron will enter? Whether the 4th electron will enter in the T2G orbital itself or it will enter in the Eg orbital. Okay, now we are going to see that. Okay, where the 4th electron will enter. For D5 system also, where the 5th electron will enter, whether the pairing will take place or the electron will enter in the higher energy level. Okay, now we are going to see that. Okay, so for that we have to calculate one energy, that is crystal field stabilization energy. Okay, CFSE, crystal field stabilization energy. Okay, so here page number 157, we can find this. Underline that one. If the octahedral crystal field splitting energy del naught is greater than the pairing energy, then the pairing should occur. Okay, it should take place. Okay, in octahedral field, if the del naught value is greater than the pairing energy of a particular complex or particular ligand. Okay, if the pairing energy is less and the octahedral splitting energy is greater than this pairing energy, means then the pairing should take place. Okay, pairing will take place. If del naught, it is octahedral crystal field splitting energy is less than pairing energy, then no pairing. Pairing does not occur. Okay, just remember this rule. Now we are going to see with the examples. Okay, we have to find the del naught value, otherwise they will give in 1 mark also. They can ask in it also. Just they will give the del naught value, p value also they will give. Just based on this, compare it. If it is greater, then pair the electrons and find the magnetic property or whatever it may be. Okay, if it is less than pairing energy, then it will be remain unpaired. Okay, no pairing will take place. Okay, then based on it we can find the magnetic properties. Okay, maximum magnetic properties question only they can ask from this. Okay, we must remember whether it will pair or not. Then only we can calculate the magnetic property. Okay, children. Yes, now here they have given few example, two example with the del naught values. First, let me write here the what values first. Fe H2O 6 3 plus H2O will fill, we know, strong field ligand, weak field ligand, like that we have learned in valence bond theory. We remember, okay, the pairing will take place, pairing does not take place. Okay, so all those things we have discussed in BBT application. Okay, the examples we have seen. Okay, this is weak field and the del naught value. Octahedral crystal splitting energy for this complex is 14,000 and FeCN6. FeCN6 is a strong field ligand and its del naught value is 35,000. Okay, 35,000 and Fe3 plus pairing energy. Okay, pairing energy we have given now. Pairing energy, it is 30,000. Okay, from this itself we can guess. See the del naught value here 35,000. Here the pairing energy is 30,000. If the del naught value is greater than the pairing energy, then pairing will take place. Okay, so in PBT theory we have discussed the ligands are stronger ligand, so it will pair up the electrons in the sentimental atom. Like that we have discussed. The same only here they are approaching in different way. That is the pairing energy and octahedral energy. Octahedral crystal splitting energy is greater than the pairing energy, then pairing will take place. Here in this case it is only 14,000. So octahedral crystal splitting energy is less than pairing energy. Okay, so the pairing does not take place. Okay, very very simple concept. Okay, now we are going to see. They have explained with the example. One formula is given there. In the fourth paragraph, mark that as a 2-mark question. If this is a book bag question also. Crystal field stabilization energy. The crystal field stabilization energy is defined as the energy difference of the electronic configuration of the ligand field and the isotropic field. Okay, so ligand field means after approaching the ligand, what is the electronic configuration of the sentimental atom? Okay, the ligand is stronger ligand, then it will be paired. The ligand is weaker ligand, then the electrons will remain as it is. Okay, so it is the difference between the ligand field and the isotropic field. The isotropic field means actual field. Okay, how it was. Now generally how we will write for a normal electronic configuration. Okay, that is for the sentimental atom. Okay, but ligand field means after approaching the ligand, how the electronic configuration is changed. Okay, now we are going to see with example. So from this we can see whether the particular ligand will pair up the electron or not, where the electrons will enter, ligand electrons where it will enter. Okay, like that we are going to see now. Okay, it is also a 5-mark question. The formula goes like this. Crystal field stabilization energy del E naught. Okay, del E naught is equal to ligand field energy minus isotropic field energy. Okay, now we are going to calculate it. Here, let's take this 2 example. Fe H2O and FeCN6. FeH2O6, this complex, and FeCN6. FeCN6 3 minus. Okay, in this two complex. Now we are going to see which is possible, where the electron is going to enter. Okay, whether the electron will pair up or it won't pair up. Okay, first let us write the electronic configuration. This is isotropic. Okay, isotropic means normal electronic configuration. What is the normal electronic configuration here? This is Fe. Fe atomic number, you know, in last class I said no, FeCO-D, ferrous, cobalt, nickel, 26, 27, 28. Okay, ferrous atomic number is what now? 26. Then what is the configuration we will get there? D6S2. Okay, D6S2. Okay, in this system, 3D6, 4S2. Fe, so we write here, Fe, 3D6, 4S2. Here the oxidation state for Fe is now +3. Okay, here also oxidation state is +3. When you calculate, you will get here +3. Okay, so +3 means 3 electrons should go. Here 2 electron, here 1 electron. So the remaining how many electrons are there? 5 electron in D orbital. So the isotropic electronic configuration is D5. For this also it is D5 isotropic field. Is D5. All the 5 electrons will present like this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the 5 electrons are present. Next is ligand field. Now the ligand is going to come. In ligand field, now see, if you notice there, is there any paired electrons in this isotropic field? There is no paired electron. Okay, here the energy of ligand field and isotropic field is no. Here they are giving in another formula also for ligand field. How we have to find the energy? For ligand field, it's number of P2G electron into minus 0.4 plus number of electron in Eg into 0.6 del naught plus number of electrons. Okay, number of pairing electrons into pairing energy. This is ligand field. Then minus isotropic field. Isotropic field is simply M-P, number of paired electrons. Okay, number of paired electrons. Now if we notice here, is there any paired electron? In both the case, there is no paired electron. So this part will become now 0 for this problem. Okay. Next we are going to calculate the ligand field energy. Okay. So an isotropic field formula, just N-P. There is no paired electron, so this part becomes 0. Now here N-P2G into minus 0.4. Now N is nothing but number of electrons. Number of electrons in P2G orbital. Okay. So first here, when the ligands approach, first let us calculate for water. Let us think the water as a low spin as well as high spin. Okay, finally we will see which spin it is. Low spin means what? Electrons will be paired. High spin means electrons are not paired. Okay, unpaired. Okay, so first let us take the water. In your book page 158 they have discussed there. Just they are taking water and they are working for both as a high spin complex as well as a low spin complex. Okay, so when we work here for water first, let us think the water is a weak ligand now. That is weak ligand means high spin. Okay. complex. Now we are taking water as a weak ligand, so that weak ligand means then the pairing does not take place. Pairing does not take place. Now just write the values here. How we will get number of electrons in T2G. Here the first three orbitals are T2G orbitals. The next two orbitals are EG orbitals. T2G orbitals and EG orbitals. So T2G orbital, here 3 electrons, 3 into minus 0.4 plus EG. EG how many electrons are there? 2 electrons, isn't it? 2 into 0.6 into del naught value. The del naught value they have given in the question itself. Del naught value for this complex it is 14,000. 14,000 we have to multiply it plus number of paired electron into pairing energy. Is there any paired electron? There is no paired electron. So it is 0. 0 into the pairing energy. Okay, pairing energy here it is 30,000. Okay, 30,000. So when we work out it here, finally we will get the answer. 3 4s are 12. So when you keep 1.1.2 minus 1.2 plus 6 2s are 12. That is also 1.2. This is plus 9.2. This is minus 1.2. So the whole part will become now 0. Okay. So 0 into 14,000 it will become 0. Then plus again 0 into 30,000. So the whole part final answer is now 0. Okay children. Minus 1.2 plus 1.2. And it will become 0. 0 into something it will become 0. Here also 0 we are multiplying because there is no paired electron. Okay. So 0 into 30,000. So the whole answer is now 0. Okay. Now here we have considered this water as a weak field ligand, that is high spin complex. Okay. Now let us think the water as a strong field ligand. Okay. Now we don't know which. But before in balance bond theory we have learned, so we are telling. Suppose if I don't know whether the particular ligand is a stronger ligand or weaker ligand. Okay. Then I can follow this method. Okay. So now let us think this water as a strong field ligand. Okay, now this is strong field, otherwise low spin complex. That is the pairing will take place. Low spin complex. Okay, water. So in low spin complex, now isotopic field as usual, all the 5 electrons will present. If it is a stronger ligand means, then the pairing will take place. The 2 electrons which is present in our EG orbital will go and occupy the T2G orbitals. Yes or no? The pairing. Okay. So this 2 electrons will go and occupy the EG orbitals. So here you will get 1, 2, 3. The 4th and 5th electron will pair now because it is a strong ligand. So the ligand will pair up the electrons present in the EG orbital to the T2G orbital. Now let us write. Now let us apply in this formula. Now number of electrons in T2G orbital. How many electrons are present now? T2G orbital 2, 4, 5. Okay, so 5 electrons. So 5 into minus 0.4. Okay, plus number of electrons in the EG orbital. There is no electrons in EG orbital, so 0. Okay, 0 into 0.6, it will become 0. And into del naught value. What is the del naught value for this complex here? It is 14,000. Okay, 14,000 plus number of paired electrons into pairing energy. Number of paired electrons, how many electrons are paired in this ligand field? 2 plus 2, 4 electrons are paired. Okay, so 4 into 30,000. Okay, 30,000 minus number of paired electrons in the isotropic field. In isotropic field, there is no paired electrons, so this part is 0 there. So when you simplify it, okay, when you simplify and find the answer, the final answer will come as 32,000. Okay, just work out and see. Here I can get this answer 32,000. Okay, so when you compare these values, this crystal field stabilization energy, actually you must get less value, then only it is correct. Okay, if it is more positive values are increasing means, then there is no possibilities of forming such type of complex. Okay, when you comparing these two values, the value which is less, okay, that type of complex only we will get. Okay, for stabilization energy is more means, okay, for that much of high energy cannot be given there. Okay, so such complex are not possible to form. Okay, only the complex which possesses less energy only is having the capacity to form a complex. Such type of complex only will exist. Okay, so when you are comparing these two values for the same complex FeH2O, okay, here we have considered this complex as a high spin complex. Okay, when we are considering this as a high spin complex, here we got the crystal field stabilization energy as 0. When we are considering this water as a low spin complex, here we are getting the crystal field stabilization energy as 32,000. Okay, here I said the stabilization energy must be less, then only the complex will exist, I said. So when we are comparing this two, here which is less energy, this high spin complex energy only less energy. So this FeH2O6 3+ complex is a high spin complex. So high spin complex means the ligand is a weak ligand, the pairing does not take place. Okay, here itself I said, okay, in first instead of work out all these things, beginning itself we said, when we are comparing this delta value and pairing value itself we have said. Okay, but even though we have to work out and show. Okay children, so now this complex can form only high spin complex. High spin complex only is possible for this type. Okay, so same way we have to calculate for FeCN63 minus. Okay, for that also first we have to consider the complex as a high spin. That means you should not pair any electron. You have to keep all the electron as it is. You have to work out like this. Okay, then you have to consider the FeCN6 as a low spin complex. That means you have to pair the electron. When you are pairing the electron, okay, you will get the two paired electrons. Okay, so you have to multiply them. Same way how we have done for water, we have to do it for cyanide complex. Okay, already it is also worked out in your book. Okay, in page 158 they have worked out. Okay, one answer we are getting 0 and another answer we are getting minus 10,000. So 0 and minus 10,000 for this complex. When we are considering this FeCN6 as a high spin complex, we are getting 0. When we are considering this as a low spin complex, we are getting minus 10,000. Okay, so this is high spin, this is low spin. So which is possible now? 0 or minus 10,000, which is the smaller number there, which is the lesser energy value there, minus 10,000. So we can say low spin complex is possible for this FeCN6. That means the cyanide is a stronger ligand. It can pair up the electrons in the central metal atom. Okay, so the electron in the d orbital it will pair. Okay, so here the topic is how the d orbital electrons are entered in the complex formation. Okay, so in water the electrons are entered as it is. Okay, there is no pairing. Okay, first 3 electrons are in Eg orbital, next 2 electrons are in T2G orbital only for water complex. Okay, in cyanide complex, in ligand field it is a low spin complex. So it will pair the electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5 electrons are entered in Eg orbital itself. There is no electron in the T2G orbital. Okay children, so it is very simple concept. where the electrons are entering, whether it is entering all the 5 electrons are entering in T2G itself or T2G and EG. Okay, if it is a weak field, then electrons will enter in all the 5 orbital. If it is a strong field, that is low spin complex, it will pair, so the electrons will enter in T2G orbital. That's all. Very very simple concept. Okay, now just to go through it, work out and see. It is in your book. They will ask in 5-mark question. Okay, so after finding the nature of a particular complex, it is whether it is a low spin or high spin complex, next we can write the electronic configuration of the particular complex. Okay, when I write the electronic configuration for this complex, how I can write what is the electronic configuration here, which complex is possible? I said it is high spin complex because it is 0, it is 32,000, so it is not possible. Okay, only this is possible. So high spin complex, what is the electronic configuration now? Electronic configuration is T2G, T2G3 and EG2. Okay, can you understand what is this T2G3 and EG2? T2G 3 electron and EG 2 electron. Okay, same way for a cyanide complex, that is low spin complex is possible because that is minus 10,000. Okay, so there, what is the electronic configuration for this complex now? T2G, okay, T2G 245, T2G5, EG0. Okay, T2G5 and EG0. Okay, children. The next magnetic property they can ask. Okay, here in this case, in a high spin complex, on this paper I said, in a high spin complex all the electrons are unpaired, so it is paramagnetic. Okay, but in the case of in the case of cyanide complex, here if you notice here, it is double, it is paired, but here one more electron is unpaired. So this is also what now? Paramagnetic. If it is any unpaired electron in the central metal atom or ion in ligand field, okay, that is paramagnetic. If all the electrons are paired, then it is diamagnetic. Okay, so paramagnetic now we know. Then we have to calculate the magnetic property. Then what is the formula to calculate mu root of, okay, mu is equal to root of n into n plus 2. Okay, in previous class also we have worked out. Okay, so here you have to work out the formula root of n into n plus 2. N is nothing but here number of unpaired electrons, just how many unpaired electrons are there, you have to put and work out. Okay, so that you can get the mu value. Okay, I hope you have understood this distribution of electron in d orbital in the complex formation. After the ligand reaches the central metal atom, how the electrons will enter in the central metal atom. Okay, the central metal atom d electrons, where it will go, whether it will in Eg orbital or in higher energy T2G or Eg, which they will occupy. Okay, like that only we have discussed. To explain this, we have taken the crystallization energy concept. Here the formula you have to remember: ligand field energy minus isotopic field energy. Ligand field energy, the formula is given there: N(T2G) into minus 0.4 plus N(Eg) into 0.6 into del naught plus Npp, number of paired electrons into pairing energy, minus isotopic field, number of paired electrons. Okay, n dash p, just number of paired electrons. Okay, children, just go through that, work out and see. Work out for cyanide complex as we have done. Just take a notes, kindly work out and see, then only you can see where you are having doubt. Okay, if you have doubt you can ask. Okay, the next one here, color of the complex. This based on this crystal field splitting energy, we can explain the color of the complex. Okay, in valence bond theory, they didn't explain anything, or Werner theory, they didn't explain anything about the color. This crystal field theory gives an idea about the color of the complex based on the crystal field splitting energy. Okay, if the energy is this much, then the color will be blue or green, like that. Okay, they have given one list. Okay, the energy is this much, like that. Okay, so before seeing this, just I want to tell one thing. Okay, so whatever the object we are seeing in our eye, actually it is not a particular color. Okay, first when the white light, that is the sunlight, when falls on it, the particular substance will absorb the light. Okay, particular light it will absorb, particular color it will absorb, the remaining color only it will emit. So the remaining color which it emits, that color only will appear in our eye. Okay, for example, orange color is absorbed by the particular substance, means it will emit the remaining color. In the remaining color which has a more wavelength, it will appear to our eye. It will appear as a blue color. But really the compound or the particular substance or object, the color which is absorbed is different. Okay, it will absorb orange color, but to our eye it will be shown as blue color. Okay children, so that is the color formation. Okay, that's how the colors are appear to our eye. Okay, so it is normal metals. Okay, normal colored metals, we can say like that, metals and all the objects which we have seen. Okay, for complex, how they are going to explain here, means based on the crystal field stabilization energy. Okay, there we have said no, based on the wavelength. Okay, so here in book page number 159 they have given the wavelength of the absorbed light and the color of the absorbed light and absorbed color. If the wavelength of the absorbed light is 4000, then color absorbed light is violet. Okay, the particular substance will absorb violet color, and what the color we are observed from that substance is yellow. Okay, really the object absorbs which color? The violet, but to our eye it appears as yellow. Okay, so just go through this box, it is quite interesting, no? So based on the wavelength of the particular absorbed light, which light they have absorbed, okay, in contrast to that it will appear. Okay, so we can observe in different color. Okay, just they have given in this table. Okay, just go through that. Same way in coordination compound, how the colors are existing. Okay, here we are telling wavelength. Based on the wavelength, the color is absorbed and emitted color is different. Okay, so same way here for D1, D2, okay, D3, like that. If it is D0 and D10, means there is no possibility of observing any colors there. Okay, that here the electrons present in T2 chapter, let me take here D1 system. Titanium H2O 6 3 plus. Now in this complex, titanium is in +3 oxidation state. Titanium is in +3 oxidation state, that is here it is D1. Okay, D1, then only one electron is present. Only one electron. Okay, so when it absorbs light, the electron will get energy, so it will go to the excited state. Okay, so it goes to the excited state. Let me write here T2G and EG form, so that we can understand better. Now in T2G orbital, one electron is present, here EG orbitals are present. When absorbing the light, the electron will go to the excited state. From T2G orbital to EG orbital it will jump. Okay, it is not jumping from D orbital to P orbital or D orbital to F, not like that. Within that orbital itself. Okay, this is also D orbital, this is also D orbital. Okay, this is T2G, this is EG. Okay, from T2G to EG, the electron is jumping. Why it is jumping? Because it is absorbing energy. Okay, where it is absorbing energy? From the white light. When the white light falls on it, it will absorb energy. Okay, so this transition is called as DD transition, from D orbital to D orbital. Okay, 2 more question, 3 more question, they can ask this one. Okay, DD transition is possible. In case of D0 or D10, there is no possibilities like that. Okay, in D0 there is no electron. In D10, all the electrons are filled. Okay? All the orbitals are filled. Okay, it will have two electrons. So there is no possibilities of moving from one place to another place. Okay, so D10 and D0 will show colorless. Okay, they are colorless compounds. Here in page number 160 you can see that one. Okay, the last paragraph in octahydrotitanium complex they have explained. No? There they have given scandium 3 plus, titanium 4 plus, copper plus, Zn2 plus are colorless. Okay, in 2 more question they can ask why Zn2 plus is colorless. Okay, what is the reason? Zn2 plus it will have D10 electronic configuration. Okay, there is no possibilities of DD transition. So it will exist as a colorless compound. Like that you have to explain. Okay, so it is jumping from one orbit to another orbit, P2G to EG. Here it absorbs the light and goes again, it will come down. So during that time it will emit the energy, absorb energy and emit energy. Based on that how much energy is released, okay, the crystal field splitting energy. Okay, so based on that they are telling here for the spectral data the absorption of this titanium aqua complex is here 20,000 centimeter. Corresponding to the crystal field splitting energy, it is 239.7 kilojoule mole per minus 1. So according to this crystal field splitting energy, the color will be, okay, the transmitted color associated with this absorption is purple, and hence the complex appears in the purple color. Okay, so they have listed some values. If the del naught value is this much, then the color will be this. Here for 239.7 kilojoule of del naught value, the color will be purple color. Okay, like that they have observed in spectra and they have listed. Okay, so from that they are giving. Okay, children. So I hope you have understood how the complex exists in color. Okay, why it does not exist in color, why it is exist in color. You have understood, I think. Okay, just DD transition. Okay, so when electrons are entering, jumping from here to here, how much energy is absorbed. Again, when it is coming down, how much energy is released. Okay, the crystal field splitting energy, how much. Okay, so based on that energy, they are giving some colors. Okay.
This is MSJ Chem, and in this video, I'm going to explain why complex ions formed from the ions of transition elements form colored compounds. A chemical property of transition elements is that they form colored compounds. Here we have a selection of compounds of the transition elements: nickel, chromium, cobalt, vanadium, and manganese. And as you can see, they all have distinctive colors. Compounds of magnesium, sodium, and calcium are included, and as you can see, these form colorless compounds because they are S-block elements and they are not transition elements. Here's another example of a transition element that forms a colored compound in solution. This is a solution of copper 2 sulfate. When dissolved in water, the copper 2 plus ion forms a complex ion, and the name of this complex ion is the hexa aqua copper 2 ion. Here's the formula for the complex ion, and as you can see, it's got a 2 plus charge. So next we'll have a look at the reason for this blue color in the hexa aqua copper 2 ion. When white light passes through a solution of copper 2 plus ions, some of the wavelengths of the visible light are absorbed and some wavelengths are transmitted. Here we can see an absorption spectrum for the blue copper sulfate solution. And as you can see, some wavelengths of visible light are transmitted and some are absorbed. Wavelengths of visible light from 400 to about 500 nanometers are being transmitted, and from about 550 nanometers onwards, these wavelengths of visible light are being absorbed. The wavelengths of light that are being absorbed are mainly orange and red, and the wavelengths of light that are being transmitted are mainly blue and green. So just to recap, white light is composed of all the wavelengths in the visible spectrum. When white light passes through the copper sulfate solution, certain wavelengths are being absorbed, that's mainly red, and certain wavelengths are being transmitted, that's mainly blue. And the reason for us seeing copper sulfate solution as being blue is because the blue wavelengths of light are being transmitted. So now we'll have a look why wavelengths of visible light are absorbed when white light passes through a solution of a complex ion. So when ligands bond to the central metal ion, there is repulsion between the electrons in the ligand and the electrons in the d orbitals of the metal ion. This repulsion causes the 5 d orbitals to split into 2 different sets, 2 with higher energy and 3 with lower energy. The energy difference between the 2 sets of d orbitals corresponds to the wavelengths of visible light. Here you can see the d orbitals are split into 2 sets, 2 orbitals of higher energy and 3 orbitals of lower energy. The energy difference between the 2 sets of orbitals corresponds to the wavelengths of visible light. As you may remember from the definition of a transition element, the ions of transition elements have incomplete d orbitals. Electrons can transition from the lower set of d orbitals to the higher set of d orbitals. In the hexa-aqua-copper-2 ion, the energy required to promote an electron from the lower to the higher set of d orbitals corresponds to a wavelength of approximately 650 to 750 nanometers. To determine which color will be absorbed and which color will be transmitted by the hexa-aqua-copper-2 ion, we can use a color wheel. So in this example, the wavelength of light that's being absorbed is in the range of 650 to 750 nanometers. And if we look at our color wheel, that corresponds to the wavelength of red light. So if red light is being absorbed, the opposite or complementary color is being transmitted. If we look on this color wheel, we can see that the complementary color to the one that's being absorbed, which is red, is the color of our copper to sulfate solution, which is blue. So let's finish with a summary. Transition elements have incomplete d orbitals. The d orbitals are split into 2 sets of higher and lower energy, and that's when the ligands bond to the central metal ion. The energy gap between the 2 sets of d orbitals corresponds to the wavelength of visible light. Electrons can transition from the lower to higher set of d orbitals by absorbing certain wavelengths of visible light. The complementary color of the color that is absorbed is transmitted, and you can determine that from the color wheel. So that's all from this video, and don't forget, if you look in the video description, you'll find the link to a practice worksheet. If you found this video helpful, you can click the like button and subscribe to my channel.
So this part is over crystal field stabilization energy and crystal field theory, and crystal field splitting energy is over. I hope you have understood this crystal field theory topic. Just go through it and read again and again.